Hey everyone, how's it going? Mike from PHP Podcast here, and today we're going to be talking about something pretty interesting. We are going to be doing how to find items to sell from Kickstarter and how to flip them on eBay. Now, normally PHP Podcast videos and our podcast, we try to be very careful with the advice that we give, very safe as far as the items you should be picking up, niches to get involved in, and it's pretty set and clear cut as far as you're going to buy something with a pretty low cost price point to pick up, and then you're going to be able to flip it for good ROI. Now, what we're talking about today with Kickstarter is a little bit more speculative, and we don't typically advise a lot on speculative stuff, but I've had a lot of people ask how I do Kickstarter investments, how I buy things and then sell them from Kickstarter. So I figured I would show kind of my process, some of the things that I do, and you can take it or leave it. Just know that I wouldn't call this high risk. I would say this is probably a little bit more medium risk, with medium reward as opposed to the high risk, high reward, low risk, low reward. So this is probably right in the middle, so you can kind of choose whether or not this is for you. But let's look at this. So the first thing is pulling up our eBay app. Is kind of just seeing what types of things from Kickstarter sell. So of course we're going to do this by searching, and I'm just going to search Kickstarter. Now, this isn't the only way to do it because not everything will tell you that it's from Kickstarter. However, you'll notice, even before I filter for sold, most of the things that are listed from Kickstarter are board games. Okay, lots and lots of board games here. And if we go to our filter and we filter to sold, we're going to find that this pretty much is the same. Okay, so almost everything that is sold from Kickstarter on eBay is board game or board game components. Now, Kickstarter is used for a lot of things that aren't board games. However, board games kind of right now are the big thing. It's so easy for companies to come up with really creative, awesome ideas. This is how smaller companies are getting their games out there. So I would suggest that if you don't have any interest at all in selling board games, Kickstarter might not be for you, because I haven't found a lot of things that sell from Kickstarter that aren't board games. But as you see, a lot of these prices are pretty good. I mean, we're looking at things that are several $100s, couple $100, $100, $340, $200, $250, right? So the prices of things that are selling from Kickstarter are high. So that gives us a little bit of an idea, and these are all recent sells. So this lets us know what we should be looking at when we go to Kickstarter. Now, if you don't know, Kickstarter is an application that you can use for kind of funding a project before it's complete, right? So a content creator or people who are developing a product, I guess I should say product creator, will come up with a prototype, they'll plan it out, and then they are looking for investors. So instead of going to a big company asking for investment, they're looking for the consumers to invest. So consumers will say, you know what, that looks like a product I would use. Then there's typically different Kickstarter exclusives, bonuses you can get, but you end up paying for the product to be made, and if it's not made, you get your money back. If the product is funded and made, then when they finish creating it, you get your product. So it could take a little bit of time, but this is a great way to get things that, this is like pure capitalism. What does the consumer want? And so you're sure to get good things. However, because it's small companies, not all of these products end up making it into big box stores. They're not always mass produced. Sometimes the Kickstarter run is the only run they ever do. Right? They may make several $100,000, they may make $1 million off their Kickstarter, and then they create a new product because the demand was high enough, right? The people who wanted it bought it on Kickstarter, and maybe it didn't make it into a big box store. So going to the app here, we'll look at how I kind of filter through some of the things. So you've got in the Kickstarter homepage, and I'm using an Android, so it might look a little bit different if you're using an iPhone. But on the Android, we've got on the top here, Magic, popular, newest, ending soon. And it's going to give you some right at the top of some popular things, some things that are currently trending, some things that are maybe being promoted. But I like to go to the popular. If you're not really familiar with the different companies, the different people who are making board games, then this is just a good way to know what are people looking for. And you can see, just looking at the first two that come up here, we have this Flamecraft, Magical Realm, Village Awakens, 2 to 5 players. This has already been, it's got 18 days to go, and it's got over 9,000 backers on it. It's been funded 2,602% over their initial. So basically, they had a goal that they needed to meet. If they met that goal, if they got enough people saying they wanted to buy this product, then they would go into production. This has still 18 days left, and it's well overfunded. This is one of the main things I'm looking for. So if you see an item that's getting close to being completed and it isn't funded yet, it's going to be a little bit more risky, because what that's telling you is it's telling you there's not a high demand for this item yet. However, if the item is funded, beyond funded, then we know that there is a huge demand for this, that there's a lot of people interested. So this would be one that I'd be willing to look at. Okay, there's 18 days to go. So I'm going to click on it, and you've got a few different options here. You can look at the campaign, the updates, comments, back this project. So the original goal is for them to raise $25,000. They've already raised $658,000. With 18 days to go, they may reach $1 million. Okay, so they only needed $25,000 to make this game, and they've made that much more. This is being made in Burbank, California, which is kind of cool because it's local for me. So this would be a product I would be very interested in. So I'm going to look at the campaign, and this is just give you an idea of what's in here. Now, I'm a big fan when I'm buying these types of games is they need to have lots of physical components and have extras that come with Kickstarter only. So you can pay extra, or maybe it just comes special that you can't get. If it does make it into a big box store, you're not going to be able to get these items because these were just for Kickstarter. So as I'm scrolling through, I see that there are lots of pictures of what this is going to be. There's lots of components. So there's going to be little meeples and tokens, and this is what you want to see, because some Kickstarters are going to just be PDFs or things that are not going to be as easy to sell. So when you see something with lots of components, and again, you can kind of read through to see. I'm also a big fan. They clearly have great artwork here. They've put a lot of work into videos and moving pictures. So this tells me this is a company who's put a lot of work into their marketing, which again, the more money they've put into marketing, the less I have to put into marketing when I'm trying to sell it, because there's going to be a high demand for an item like this. So I would be interested in something like this. It looks like it's got the components I'm looking for. So I'm going to go to the back of this product, and it gives you different levels you can buy at. So you can pledge without a reward, you can pledge $1, which is just kind of a lot of times just things saying thank you, or you might have access to things later on. And then there's going to be levels that you can get. So the first level is 1 copy of the game. It's the shopkeeper level. It's $39. Comes with 1 copy of the game, plus Kickstarter exclusive content and all unlocked standard edition stretch goals. So the cool thing about this is even if this ends up being sold on Amazon later, this game, you're not going to be able to buy all these extra things, all these exclusive content. So even though the game might come out at $40 for the game, all this other stuff is going to be able to be sold extra because you've got a special edition. But there's more, right? You might say, you know what, this one, the Flamekeeper, comes with a copy of the game and it comes with extra things. 6 full-color dragon miniatures. And so you might say, you know what, those might be worthwhile. A lot of times the things that sell on eBay are going to be the highest pledge tier. Not always, but you can see that here. The other thing you'll see here is the estimated delivery. The estimated delivery for this is July of 2022. Okay, so this is a long time. The nice thing is you can kind of, if you get on a rotation, you can pay for it now. Maybe every month you're buying one Kickstarter for somewhere between 20 to 100 bucks, something like that. And then after about a year, you've got them continually rolling in, because it usually takes about a year for the production and for shipment. But here's why this isn't a bad thing. Yes, you do have to wait. However, what makes this worthwhile, the waiting, is this stuff is going to come July 22nd. Or July of 2022. So over a year from now, or just about a year from now. So let's say this game starts to get a lot of attention. People are really excited for this game to come. Well, once the Kickstarter closes, you can't get it anymore. You've got to wait until usually the Kickstarter makes it to people. It might be another couple of months before reviews start coming out and stores decide whether they want it. And I can't tell you how many times I've had a friend buy a board game from Kickstarter. We've played it at game night, and as we're playing it, I'm like, this game is amazing. I need a copy in my collection, but it was Kickstarter only, so I can't get it right now. They're not going to have more copies made for another 3 or 4 months. Maybe they're running another Kickstarter, so it might be a while before those come. So it's not a bad thing looking at and waiting for the stuff, because it means that other people are going to have to wait too, right? So once you start getting yours, you can start selling them, you can hold them. And the reason I say this is medium risk is because yes, you're waiting. You don't know this $39 game with all of the extra Kickstarter stretch goals and components that come. This might sell for $80 on eBay. It might sell for $100 on eBay. It might sell for $60, right? So you're probably gonna at least break even if you sold it at price with the shipping, because you do have to pay shipping on Kickstarter a lot of times. You're gonna end up probably breaking even, worst case scenario, maybe a little less if the game flops. However, if the game does really well, you can really take off, right? Like you can sell this because it might be a 6-month delay before the company has more of them in stock, enough to sell for the demand. And if you're selling your copy, you can just let the market decide. People played it at their friend's house, they need a copy, and you're gonna make a lot of money on that. So this is the kind of thing I'm looking for. We can look real quick at another game. So the next one that's on here, this one you can tell it's going to be huge. It's been funded 11,000 over. It's got 44,000 backers. It's an avatar role-playing game. Now, this might be a good example. With role-playing games like this, a lot of times, let's look at the campaign. A lot of times, okay, so it does look like there's going to be digital copies and some physical things. So that's kind of what you're looking for. You got to be careful because some things are mostly digital, and you won't do as well with those selling on eBay. But if you've got physical copies of things, again, if it's just books, the hard part is it's easier for companies to produce more books. So if it does well on the Kickstarter, they can make some more books through a publisher and have it on Amazon within a few weeks. But if there's physical things that come with it, dice, miniatures, stuff like that, it's harder for companies to get that stuff made and out. So if we were to go to back this product, let's see, the $20 back is just PDFs. Okay, so this is what I would avoid. I would not buy something that's just PDFs. The $50 has PDFs plus 1 core book. So you're paying $50 for a book, basically. And I have a feeling that they could easily make more books of this. So if it does well, you're going to be able to buy this book on Amazon shortly after the Kickstarter starts releasing to people. Then we have things that say here, all physical stretch goals. Okay, all physical stretch goals for the $100. Now here we have this one, a retailer only edition. A lot of Kickstarters have this option where you can get things for retailers, which is a cool thing where you can get sometimes 4 or 10 copies of it at a discounted price. This one has all the physical goals plus the PDFs. It doesn't come with the core books, it doesn't look like. But those stretch goals might be what sell, right? Because when the game comes out, all those Kickstarter exclusive, if we were to go back to eBay, you're going to see a lot of these things are base plus stretch goals. This Marvel United Kickstarter base plus stretch goals. You may or may not be able to get those stretch goals anywhere other than eBay once that Kickstarter closes. That's what makes these worth picking up if you know that there's demand for it. Again, there might be too much demand, right? So a product like this that already has 44,000 backers, maybe all of the people who want this are already getting it. However, you'd imagine that if this many people are interested in the game, they're going to show their friends are going to want it, and they're going to want those cool little things, those physical components that come with it, and they may only be able to get that if they're looking on eBay. So it could be worth it if you see one that might be, again, you're taking a gamble, you don't know what they're going to sell for on eBay, but you might be able to find, I'm looking at this, let's see what the physical copies. All right, so it looks like for this game, the physical stuff, there's a dice pack, there's a cloth map, an action deck, a deluxe dice bag, some more dice bags, a journal pack, adventure booklet. So it looks like there's a lot of things that will come with this. And again, it shows you what comes with. So the Otter Penguin, core book, all stretch goals, $75. So again, you may be able to sell each of those components for $10 to $20 a piece just for the dice. So you might make your money really fast by breaking it up into pieces, selling it all together, because that might be the only way people can get those extra components is through the Kickstarter. Again, a little risky, but it can be fun, and you might end up finding some games that you want to play and keep yourself. Anyways, I hope this was helpful. I know it's not the normal thing we do here on PHP Podcast, but I've done this successfully several times with different products, so I figured I would kind of share my process a little bit. Let me know below in the comments, have you ever done anything like this? Have you kickstarted a product to try and sell? Did it win for you? Was it a flop? And what are some of the more risky types of investments that you make for reselling? Anyways, make sure you guys stay real, relevant, and reselling. Peace.